If you could have a guide, someone to help you tell your story, give you the tools to reach your ideal customer, lead you to living your dreams and turning a profit, would you follow it? Everyone, every passion has a place in this world, and each has the potential to be unstoppable. It's time to buckle up and tune in to your personal strategist, life purpose coach and marketing maven, Lindy Chaffin Start.
Hello, and happy Wednesday from Unstoppable Start Studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is Lindy Chaffin Start. I am the owner and creative director here at the studio, and oh my gosh, when I think about all the things I tell you that I do, I think the entire show would be taken up by just a laundry list of stuff. As you've probably seen so far. Oh my gosh. What have we talked about? We've talked about websites, and we've talked about branding, and we've talked about, everything. It feels like everything, even gotten the tip of the iceberg to melt yet. So that's why we're here today. We're going to tackle social media. And I don't know if we can actually manage this in one show, because social media is no small thing. So I'm going to touch on the points that I think are most relevant, and I hope that it resonates to the point you realize, if you're not using social media for your small business, that you will begin to develop a social media strategy for your business and carry you into 2019. As we talked about last week, setting goals. Now's a great time not to miss that moment. This is the end of the year. You're looking at a brand new year, letting go of the bad stuff that happened this year, if any bad stuff happened. You're learning those lessons, you're applying that knowledge, and you're setting goals for your next year. It's critical. It feels like the year's just getting swept away from us. It does me. And this is usually a downtime for me, but I'm insanely busy. So much gratitude to God and the universe for that. But here I am, ready to share with you about social media. I'm going to get right on to the point, and we're going to start with the 3 steps to strengthen your strategy. So looking into 2019, contrary to popular belief, social media marketing is more of a science than an art. I know a lot of it is very visual, but is definitely is chemistry. Everything is subtle. Every little thing means something in this day and age. You have to be very careful. I don't even know if you can mind your P's and Q's anymore, but mind your P's and Q's, pints and quarts. If you leave me, let's just dive right on in. Social media allows us to reach target audience in personalized, strategic, engaging ways. Personalized, strategic, and engaging. That's no small feat. Have you ever tried to write an email that was personalized, strategic, and engaging? It's not easy, folks. This is not, unless you were just born to do this, it is not simple. So, based on what you post, your customers can react. They can share, question the content that you're sharing. They do that, and you have to be ready when they engage to respond. It doesn't mean you have to sit and watch your social media accounts all day, every day. It means that you have to be prepared to respond. I preach this to my customers often, especially when I see messages come through on Facebook and places like that into their messaging. Sometimes it's negative. Sometimes it's positive. Most importantly, thank you for the positive messages. Your feedback is valuable. If it's negative, don't take it offside somewhere into some private message, not initially. Respond to it up front on the platform where they posted the message so that your entire audience can see that you engage. It is part of what makes you authentic. It is part of what makes you transparent. We can go back to that, show me to, but we don't have to. You want people to know that you're real, that you're human, that stuff happens, what the situation is. I can tell you I had a personal experience this week with a local retail store that apparently is selling junk, brand new, wrapped up, just junk on its shelves. I bought 2 pieces of that junk and brought it home and found that it truly was junk and it didn't work, which, you know, when you pay $7 for one thing and $25 for another, you kind of expect to get it home and it's going to work. Well, they were kind enough to put in their receipt and then again in a digital receipt, hey, we want to know what you think. Okay, so aside from the snarky cashier, which I did not appreciate, but I was still to him, I have 2 pieces of junk that you wrapped up in pretty packaging and sold to me for an ungodly amount of money. I'm not happy. I'll be bringing this junk back to you. Have they responded? No. Is that smart of them? No, not really. So, just a heads up. Jump out and fix those things and do it publicly and do it quickly. Because if you mess up, you don't want to lose customers because one customer's unhappy and very vocal. Very vocal, like me, you know. So, back on task. Let's get back to the social media piece. Generating buzz is huge and it's exciting, but the real spectacle is getting the right content in front of the right people at the right time with media. It's hard to know unless you sit down and do the work. So let's get the first piece of that. This is how we're going to strengthen our strategy. Know your audience. We have already talked about this, but let's ask some serious questions because I want you to be able to turn off your computer at the end of today, sit with a glass of wine this evening and go, let me think about my audience for a minute. What would Sally, Brian, Jacob do? Who are they? How do they act? How do I know them? You don't want your customers to be just a number. You want them to be people. So think of these people who might buy your products. Think about your array of products. Now, multiple products that I offer through my business still accomplishes one thing. That is digital marketing. So, my audience is a small business owner who's trying to figure out what kind of money to spend, how much money to spend. Do they really want to spend money? Can they do it themselves? Do they need to hire a contractor? Are they creative enough? Do they have the bandwidth? Yada, yada, yada. You get where I'm going with this. So here's some questions for you to ask so you can understand who your ideal audience might be. What do they dream about? What do they fear? What do they need? Who do they aspire to be? Who inspires them to grow? How do they behave? How do they make decisions? Once you can answer these questions, you'll be able to more easily see which social media platforms your audience is likely using. And your demographic information will look less like the number and more like a real customer. So once you have, we'll just call it character development. I'll split the difference between writing a book and creating a social media presence. We'll take your characters and we'll determine out of our products what they might be interested in. Now, once we kind of have the bigger picture, this is big character development. It's not going to be a few sentences. This is truly going to be an outline of this person or these people. So once you have that in place, you need to decide how you're going to reach that. And if you have those social media platforms in place, awesome. If you don't, get on it. If you've only got Facebook, there's probably about 1,000,001 more you need to be looking at. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, oh my goodness, Pinterest, Google Plus. It goes on and on and on and on and on. It just depends on your audience. Where are your customers going to find you? Well, we can get back into the whole generations conversation if we need to. Different people respond to different mediums, are active on different mediums. I have found Instagram has been a huge medium for me, and that was totally unexpected. I did not expect that, but that's where my audience is. So my demographic is a little bit younger than I anticipated it to be when I started the business. That's why I always go back and revisit when you're at the end of the year, when you're in your strategy, when you're sitting down with your best friend or your CEO, your CFO, your CO, your kids, your husband, whoever, when you're sitting down with your team and you're looking at your strategy for the upcoming year, take a look at the lessons you've learned and tweak your focus. If you see that your demographic has changed, then change the way you're reaching your demographic. It's that simple. Not saying it's going to work. It's everything changes. Don't think it's just you and your demographic that are changing. It's the social media platforms that are changing too. That's part of why all this stuff happens. The algorithms change. They do something different because somebody got upset here. We've seen that whole Facebook mess this year. So those are just things you need to consider. If you have platforms you have in place, go through and just read the policies at the end of the year. Make sure you're hitting the right points with your marketing. If there's social media platforms you're using that might reach a demographic, we'll just use Snapchat for giggles. Much younger demographic. But if you can use Snapchat to reach people that will buy your product, then use Snapchat. If you don't know anything about Snapchat, Google it. Look it up. Find out. Ask a friend. Ask your kid. I promise you, my 11-year-old teaches me stuff all the time. It's quite scary. But I've learned a lot from her. And she's a huge proponent of video live. Mom, you need to be doing live. It's one of the reasons I do this podcast every week. Next year, I'm going to push that a little bit further into video. Shorter video, but still, I know you don't want to look at my full face. I have a face that was made for radio, just saying. I'm just kidding. It is time to go to break. So you are listening to Unstoppable with me, Lindy Chaffin Start, on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
We all wish we had a few extra hours and a few less things to do in our hurried days. By tuning into Unstoppable, hosted by life purpose coach and marketing maven Lindy Chaffin Start, you'll hear success stories of how other entrepreneurs have uncovered their passions and learned to live a balanced, purposeful life. You'll receive tips and tools to market and grow your business, wrangle the chaos, and design the life you've dreamt of. Learn how to be unstoppable by tuning in to InspiredChoicesNetwork.com every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. This is Unstoppable with life purpose coach and marketing maven Lindy Chaffin Start. If you have a question about marketing your small business or finding balance as an entrepreneur, or you're just trying to get up the courage to do your own thing, let Lindy know. You can call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now, back to Unstoppable.
Hello, welcome back. You are listening to Lindy on Inspired Choices Network. I am the Unstoppable Start and plan to give one of those to your business every chance I get. So listen up. We're talking about social media. We were talking about the different, kind of all over the place, but the different social media outlets. One of the other ways you can help strengthen your strategy and determine what outlet you need to use is not only to look at your audience, but also look at your goals, look at what you want to accomplish. Your audience is diverse, your products are diverse, so you have to create distinct goals for the different subsections, right? So we'll just use a hardware store as an example. You're a hardware store owner. You might pinpoint families in the area that are interested in home improvement projects. I just bought a house in June. Believe me, home improvement is one of the things. Luckily, I have a background before advertising in construction, so I can change a toilet like the rest of them. Just sharing a little bit of my background. So your campaign goal for those home improvement folks, DIY folks, would be maybe to develop a series of family DIY events, promote them on Twitter and Instagram, maybe also on Facebook. Depends. You can also toss in some geo-targeting here. Depends on what your budget is. You might also, though, want to target businesses or commercial buildings maintenance needs if you're that type of hardware store. Not all of them are. A little bit bigger scale here. So for them, your goal might be brand awareness. You start posting business materials on LinkedIn and Facebook, right? You can do a B2B targeting. It all depends on how you want to go about accomplishing. But we're talking about social media. Here's my point. You need to have a clearly defined marketing goal so that you know how to target, who to target, and what to measure as you look for signs of success. Okay. Third tip to strengthen, know your capacity. Targeted social media campaigns require authentic, creative, engaging content that not only represents and supports your brand, but is interesting and useful to your audience. I'm going to go back to its chemistry. And it's not easy unless you were born with this talent. I wasn't born with it. I've developed it. It's not easy. I've been doing this for years. It's still not easy. So if you don't have the bandwidth, if you don't have the capacity, call in reinforcements. There are professionals all over this country that do this for a living. They can help. They don't cost $5. Some of them do. They don't all cost $125 an hour. You can find somebody that's going to work with you who understands your small business, who can work within your budget. So if you need to, reach out to a professional because you need to be number one for customer. It's the most important thing. And if that means all you can do in your social media campaigning is responding to social media engagement, then be that person and let somebody handle the rest. Doesn't mean you lose control of it. Believe me, I'll come to you with creative ideas, but we know that you are the owner. We do not take ownership in this. This is your business. These are your campaigns. These are your assets. We want you to be happy with the final product. I'm speaking for everybody because I feel like everybody's in the same boat. So this commitment, when we talk about capacity, this is a huge commitment to content curation and consistent positive interaction. Posting randomly on social media makes it look like you have a presence. I'm probably guilty of that, not because I don't know social media strategy. There's a Emory certificate sitting right there that says I do. Because I don't have the capacity for my own business. I have it for my clients, and that's where all of my energy goes. So my social media looks a little tired, and hopefully next year, not next week, goodness, give me a minute. Next year it'll a little bit better. But targeted social media campaigns are about reaching your ideal audience with content that actually matters to them. So those are the keys to strengthening that strategy that you are in the process of developing for 2019. Okay. So we can go in a couple of different directions here. I have marketing tips, and then I have best practices in customer service via social media. So I think let's tackle customer service first. I don't know why this is speaking to me today, but it is. You have your social media platform set up. You are where your customers are. Are you monitoring your mentions on social media? Did you know you could do that? You can actually set up an alert that lets you know when your business, your name, any kind of keyword that you're interested in is talked about. Where, who's doing it, how to nose into that conversation. Not really. It doesn't tell you how. But it tells you where and who's doing it and what was mentioned. It's interesting how that works. It looks like a lot of data. It's interesting data if you get into that kind of thing. I think the most important realization in the mentions is that you get to stay on top of when and where and who is doing the mentioning so that you can respond. They might not say something directly to you on your page. They might say something in their feed and just mention you. Not even tag you. Just mention you. So this wonderful tool can show you what's happening behind the scenes, so you can jump in there and respond to that engagement. Engagement's huge. You'll hear that word often in social media. Look for mentions that might not be obvious. Again, folks might not know your Twitter handle. It might be different because you started your business after you started your Twitter account. Who knows? Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for misspelling in those mentions. Somebody, if they were going to mention start, might spell unstoppable with 1 P instead of 2 by accident. Keep an eye out for that. We've kind of already touched on this, but speed matters in social support. So it's not that you have to sit there and eyeball your accounts all day, every day. But if you have the tool that allows you to know what's being mentioned when, you can set aside a time of the day to sit down and respond. It's usually best to do it within a business day or 24 hours, depending on, what business size you are. sadly, surveys say that 32% actually of social media users who contact a brand expect a response within 30 minutes, and 42% expect a response within 60 minutes. It's big numbers, right? And a little scary for a small business owner who is likely working a counter and creating a product at the same time. So just keep that in the back of your mind. You don't have to be all things to all people, but you have to respond. I actually, believe it or not, got a ping on Facebook message last night from a listener. We have engaged on social media already, but he pinged me through Messenger and said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm really enjoying listening to the show." And I wrote him back as soon as I realized I had the message and told him how much I appreciated it and told him to stay in touch because I want to know. I hope he's listening right now. Nate, if you're, let me know what you want to talk about, man. I hope this social media lesson is helpful, though the show's going really fast. So I'm going to get it all in. When we come back from break, I will talk about the right tone of voice. We'll be back.
We all wish we had a few extra hours and a few less things to do in our hurried days. By tuning into Unstoppable, hosted by life purpose coach and marketing maven Lindy Chaffin Start, you'll hear success stories of how other entrepreneurs have uncovered their passions and learned to live a balanced, purposeful life. You'll receive tips and tools to market and grow your business, wrangle the chaos, and design the life you've dreamt of. Learn how to be unstoppable by tuning in to InspiredChoicesNetwork.com every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. This is Unstoppable with life purpose coach and marketing maven Lindy Chaffin Start. If you have a question about marketing your small business or finding balance as an entrepreneur, or you're just trying to get up the courage to do your own thing, let Lindy know. You can call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now, back to Unstoppable.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Lindy Chaffin Start on Unstoppable. So I know we talk about this stuff every week, and I've put it out there more than once, and I'll put it out again. If you want to have a conversation about your marketing goals, your strategy, a way to build your presence, if you just have questions, I'm happy to offer a half an hour. Give me a call, shoot me a message through the site, which is www.unstoppablestart.com. And I will do what I can to help you get your business moving in the direction you want it to go. That's what I'm here for. So we're talking about customer service, and before break, I said we were going to talk about tone, and tone is sort of critical. You listen to me out every week. I think you can hear it in my voice, though I sound flat and giggly and everything else sometimes. Tone, especially important when you're dealing in social media because you're limited to character count. Things can be misunderstood. You know this. You get text messages all the time that things are the context, taken out of context. You don't understand why someone might respond the way that they did, or maybe you responded because you were short on time, so you just said a quick 3-second, hey, thanks, sort of thing, or got it. You know, those things can be misunderstood. So in social media especially, you have to be very careful about your tone. So some things to look out for. Is the customer in their engagement with your brand using emotions, emoticons, exclamation points, slang. If they are, then it's okay for you to reciprocate in the same way. Might not be your voice, and if it's not, then respond in the voice that you have, but it's okay if they give you a winky face or a smiley face, give them a winky face or a smiley face back. It's okay. It's safe. You can still be professional while doing it. I know I smiley face my people all the time. I hope they appreciate it. They're not. Does the customer sound like they might not be totally fluent in your language? But seriously, we have a very diverse country that we live in. I was going to say community. It is a community. We're all in the same community. We're all in the same place together. If a person sounds like they don't have a full grasp of the language, then be very, very careful in how you respond. Use straightforward statements. Don't joke or be flippant. Don't use slang. It will likely be misunderstood. You have to be very careful. Does the customer sound frustrated? Well, here's the customer service cue. Put on your empathy hat and step in the person's shoes and be as understanding as possible. Apologize if you need to. Be reassuring. Let them know that the fix is in the works. Take care of these things, and you'll develop not only an audience, but fans, loyalty. That's what you want for your brand. Take things offline when necessary. I mentioned this a little while ago. If you get a negative comment on social media, you can't always respond to it on social media. And it's another tone thing. You can tell when somebody's really pissed. You can tell. So, best thing you can do, again, the initial response needs to be to the original comment on your social media. Make sure you get that taken care of. I am so sorry that we messed up this big and you are this upset. I'm going to reach out to you. What is the best way to contact you? Can you PM me your email address, telephone number? Can we have a conversation? You do not want to leave an unhappy, dissatisfied customer, because that customer has a voice and has access to every social media platform that you do. And they will take their story to the world. So be very mindful of that in the way you respond. Take it offline. Make it very personal if you need to. It's important. I'm not going to joke this. Everybody on the planet screws up from time to time. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. We live a life that is human. And the best thing we can do is be accountable. Accept the fact that we made a mistake. And one thing I disagree with wholeheartedly with companies is the customer service surveys that go out. I feel like they set customers and customer service reps up for failure because nobody has the time. If I had a really great customer experience and I respond to a survey, but I mistakenly read loved versus hated, and I hit the wrong number, that person their job. Hey, you got all fives. What's wrong with you? What happened with this customer? I can just hear the supervisor. That kind of makes me sick to my stomach, that I would be responsible with one little human mistake. I was in a hurry and I misread what I was supposed to do. And that person is hurting because of me. I don't want that for anybody. So I don't like that companies do that. I promise you 9 times out of 10, 9.99 times out of 10, I don't respond to those surveys because I'm afraid I'm going to screw up. I don't want anybody to be losing their job at Christmas. So there you go. Just be accountable. Take ownership for what you do. Everybody, don't make excuses. Don't point fingers. It's not somebody else's problem. Look, I'm in the weeds. I apologize. I will get on it. How about I have it to you by 5? Right? You do the best you can. And if you can't do that, be transparent, be honest. And if the relationship's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And that's okay. It's okay. But you still have to be accountable. All right. Don't raise your kids not to be accountable. Ugh. Just don't do it. Anyway. Knowledge bases. So, knowledge bases are super important, especially if you're in a large company. Much base is in my brain. And in a few blog posts and on this podcast. So if I have a customer who has a question on my webs, don't have an extensive FAQ to answer their question. I do, however, have a contact form, my email address, and all of my customers know my cell phone number, so they can call me if they need anything or if they have a question. And they do. So customer service via social media can help your business grow if it's handled correctly. Just be mindful of those little tips and tricks to get you through, okay? Now, tips for 2019. Do you hear me shuffling paper in the background? I recycle, but I'm not green. I have to have stuff in front of me. I'm sorry, universe. It's recycled paper. So, social media marketing tips. 2019 is going to be a big year, folks. There are going to be lots of things to look out for. Chatbots are going to become increasingly important. That immediate response. Live streaming, we talked about this, being your own CEO, and how being the front person for your customers is critical. I told you, my 11-year-old is already preaching to me. Get out there and do it, Mom. You need to do it, Mom. You need to have a presence, Mom. Okay, you're right. She's right. She's right. If you don't know how right she is, let me share this with you. Her generation, Generation Z, we've been selling to millennials for years. They've got money in the marketplace. Gen Z, responsible for, I believe the last number I read was $44 billion in the economy. Gen Z. It blows my mind. Gen Z, they are just now graduating high school in the first part of the workforce, right? My Gen Z, for her allowance from time to time, she asked me for her allowance in a Google Play card. Do you know what she does with that Google Play card? She spends it on product that she sees on social media, in the gaming platform, on television, in email, though it's mainly social media and gaming platforms. It's money, folks. We don't take them to the 5 and dime anymore to get a penny bubble gum. It doesn't work that way. Mom, she gets $20 every 2 weeks. I have my allowance in a Google Play card. There's something I want to do. Sure. She downloads music. Where does she get music? Where do you think? Social media, other people's stories. What used to be Musical.ly, I forget what they called it now, but it was a weird name change. I liked Musical.ly better, but I'm old. So just keep that in the back of your head. If you have a product that's going to appeal to Gen Z, think about it. Think about consider them when you're developing your audience, when you're developing those little bios for your customers. But live streaming, YouTube has live streaming, Facebook has live streaming, Instagram, live streaming. YouTube, as you can imagine, is huge. YouTubers, gamers, people who sit and test product or game, share their screen. They develop merchandise. And they sell these items to people. Can you do that? Think about it. Think about ways that you can flip that switch. Is there something you can sell in a live stream? Is there a live stream that can go viral and make your product that much more popular? Would your product be ideal for a 9-year-old daughter? Well, send it to her. Have her test it out. I'm actually going to interview my daughter at the end of the year, and we're going to discuss the advertising that has happened throughout this holiday season, and she's going to give us her thoughts on how mothers approach 11-year-olds. People in her age group, the tweens. We'll just call it the tweens. So we've got one more break. So let's go ahead and do that now, and we'll come back and finish up our discussion on marketing tips, social media marketing tips for 2019. You're listening to Unstoppable with Lindy Chaffin Start. We'll be right back.
We all wish we had a few extra hours and a few less things to do in our hurried days. By tuning into Unstoppable, hosted by life purpose coach and marketing maven Lindy Chaffin Start, you'll hear success stories of how other entrepreneurs have uncovered their passions and learned to live a balanced, purposeful life. You'll receive tips and tools to market and grow your business, wrangle the chaos, and design the life you've dreamt of. Learn how to be unstoppable by tuning in to InspiredChoicesNetwork.com every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. This is Unstoppable with life purpose coach and marketing maven Lindy Chaffin Start. If you have a question about marketing your small business or finding balance as an entrepreneur, or you're just trying to get up the courage to do your own thing, let Lindy know. You can call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now, back to Unstoppable.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, so we're trying to wrap up these tips for marketing, social media marketing in 2019, and we were talking a little bit about live streaming, how quickly that's gaining ground. Something that I think we'll talk about next week is more on the live streaming tip and also video and how that content can be used, but also how insanely popular it has become. If some of those statistics, you would probably faint. So if you have any questions around the use of live streaming or video, do me a favor and just go to the website, unstoppableStart.com, and fill out that little form. ask a question. I'll do my best to answer it on next week's show. Or feel free to shoot me an email, which is Lindy Chaffin at att.net. It's LindyChaffin at att.net. So again, aside from live streaming, video content just continues to grow and is becoming more, you've seen it, the TED Talks, there's so many ways to get in front of people with video. So many. It just blows my mind. It could be a 10-second promo video. It could be a 2-minute explainer video. It could be a 55-minute TED Talk. Lots and lots of ways to get in front of your audience. Utilize them. Utilize them. It's important. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all allow you to publish video as well as YouTube. So be mindful of that. And 9 times out of 10, if you video yourself and you're using a platform, I'll throw out Animoto, they will cut your video for whatever medium you are using. So you might have one video developed, but they will change the frame size in the platform for you. All you have to do is click a button, which is pretty cool. We've already talked about Gen Z, which, it's a lot for us to consider because everything is changing with them. These are digital natives, and we have to speak in their language. And I can tell you right now, I do not speak the same as my 11-year-old does. I have to tell her. If she uses terms like or troll and this is all game talk, she has to explain it to me in terms that I use. Isn't that crazy? Okay, use mommy's words and tell me what you're talking about. So, marketing to Gen Z. Ad blocker usage is going to continue to grow as well. And as that happens, you are going to have to consider marketing in more native ways to reach your audience. Just something to consider. Influencer marketing, more effective than ever before. Insane. According to the Influencer Orchestration Network, as much as 86% of marketers utilized influencer marketing in 2016. That was 2 years ago. Increases traffic, brand recognition, sales figures, obviously. But you have to have a budget for it. Most small businesses don't. You might have a neighbor who can help out with that, but budget-wise, that takes a lot. Something to think about. There are lots of new publishing features coming out that we need to keep our eyes open for. Facebook Instant Articles, LinkedIn are excellent examples of publishing features offered by top social media networks. If you want to publish articles directly onto your social feed, it's a great way to do it. It gives you the opportunity to rank an article, which links back to your website and increases your brand authority, website traffic visibility. Keep that in mind. Instagram stories, more and more and more popular. Instagram stories, I don't quite know how to describe them other than the conglomeration of posts. I keep bringing up my daughter today. She's on my brain. She does her Instagram stories, and she'll use a combination of photo and video. And cute as it can be, and it's just about relevant stuff that's happening in her life. It's another way for your brand to be transparent, authentic, quick videos, photographs, behind-the-scenes stuff that make more real. You're not just a product on a shelf, but you're an actual person who does. Use things like Instagram stories to share that with your audience. Another goal for 2019 for me. We took a voice search last week. When you're developing social media, when you are developing your content, period, think about how people might ask the question that you are answering. Make sense? So instead of where you would type a search, social media, or we'll just say digital marketing, Atlanta, Georgia, you might ask instead via voice search, hey Google, who's the best social media marketer in Atlanta? So just when you're developing your content, think around that. That question might be asked. That's social media. That's all I can share on social media in one sitting. It is, there's just so much to it. It is as creative as you are. You can use it to your advantage, but you can't do it sporadically. You have to stay on it. Enjoy it. If it's not something you enjoy, find somebody to do it for you, because you don't want to take the focus off the things you love doing to try to satisfy something that to you can't be touched or talked to. Depends on who you are. So until next week, folks, be unstoppable.
Thank you for being Inspired Choices Network's most valuable asset, and for tuning in to Unstoppable. Host Lindy Chaffin Start will return next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time, with more valuable tips to support you and your small business.